Hi, I'm Cassie Arbelli. I'm the host of the Unburden Your Business podcast, where we give you all the tactics to help you find financial and time freedom and really create the business that you love, taking it from a burden to a blessing. And today we're going to be talking about hypno breathwork. So if that's something that's interesting to you, keep watching. Today, we're welcoming Crystal. She is a hypno breathwork coach. That is such a mouthful, but she helps people get into their flow, which we're going to talk about today, what that means, so that they can show up and create the impact in the world they're looking to create. So, Crystal, welcome. Will you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Obviously, like you said, my name's Crystal. I'm a HypnoBreathwork coach, and HypnoBreathwork is a type of breathwork where we just access higher states of consciousness, more creativity, and access our higher selves. And I found this practice a couple of years ago, and I'm a founding coach on an app called Mastery. And I'm just here spreading breathwork throughout the world, helping people connect to their highest self and show up in their best way.
I love it. So, I first learned about breath work when I went to a conference and didn't know that this was going to be happening. There was about 1,000 women there, all women entrepreneurs. It was amazing. And somebody got on stage and walked us through and like guided us through a breathwork session. And it was probably one of the most like profound things that I had gone through. I had such an interesting and powerful realization through this. And it is something I'll probably never forget. And I do tap back into that moment many times when I'm feeling a certain way. And what I had visualized during that time was actually like my younger self. And I was like talking to her as who I was today. Like it was just crazy. Like it was almost this woman showing up who has gone through the work and has healed herself from many things and like talking to the little version of herself, just like, hey, you're going to be okay. It was just crazy. Right. And all the women are crying and we're all hugging. And it's just like, it just sounds like this like tribal experience. Like when you take called, but you know what I
Oh,
mean?
ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca, right? Like that's what it
Yes,
felt like,
it
but
is. It is.
it
Yeah.
was 100% just using your breath. It was natural, something you can do at any moment. And you just get to tap back into just the way you breathe. It's crazy how much it affects your mental clarity, like tapping into places in your subconscious that are kind of clogged or stuck. And it's also an amazing way to help with anxiety and stress. And I always talk about how us women, specifically, more than maybe our male counterparts, carry around a mental load. And we're just a different type of species. We carry stress and emotions and different things in a different way. And I think we even, us maybe being, I don't know if this is really true, the science behind it, but like the emotional side more of the species. And like, I know I carry a lot of stress like in my neck and my shoulders. Like I'll gone to the chiropractor and get adjusted and like just start bawling. And I'm like, well, I don't know why I'm crying, because we just hold so much. And I think that breath work really helps get a lot of it released and going. So can you tell me about breath work specifically, hypno breath work, and like what it's meant to do and how it really helps people?
Yeah. So breathwork is really an umbrella term for just different types of conscious breathing patterns. And so breathwork in itself is very powerful, right? Using the breath to help move emotions and stuck energy through the body. But then with hypno breathwork, we use three components. So obviously there's breathwork, but another piece that is really, really important and crucial is hypnosis, right? And so a lot of people have, preconceived ideas about hypnosis, but a hypnotic state is really just a deep meditative state where your subconscious is more open to suggestions and more receptive. And so in the breath work, it's basically like questions that we're asking you to help draw out clarity, draw out insights and awarenesses, and help you like connect and make connections between patterns. And so the third part is visioning, right? Where it's a little bit different from visualizing, because visualizing, we're creating that vision. We're visioning, it's like we're receiving the vision from, our subconscious, our intuition, our spirit, however you like to think about it. And so when I found hypno breath work, it was really powerful because I was already very connected to breath work and I was using it in my own journey of healing myself and growth. But with hypno breath work, it just got really, really intentional into like what it is that we're trying to do, right? So we're not just going into a breathwork session just so that we can breathe and like we'll see what comes up. I mean, what's going to come up is going to come up, but with hypno breathwork, like we're very intentional. Like, hey, we're going to clear these emotions. We're going to, connect to these new insights and new awarenesses depending on what it's for, right? Maybe you have a sales conversation you need to have and you need to, envision what that looks like and get really clear on what it sounds like. So the intentionality of hypno breathwork is really what drew me to it because that was the game changer for me.
Yeah, you talk a lot about getting into your flow. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so it's a flow state, right? And flow state is also known as being in the zone, and it's basically a higher state of consciousness where you're functioning in your best and you're feeling your best. And in those moments, time time seems to disappear, as well as things just get easy and effortless. And it's almost like you're just super connected to the flow, right? And things just come through. Like I know what I need to do next. I feel very fluid and very easy and effortless in all of my actions, and I feel like I can show up my best. And so breathwork is the perfect hack to get you into flow on demand, right? And that's where we can be more productive, more focused, and we can get shit done.
Yes, I love that how you said like into flow on demand, because I think throughout our days, days just start to go by and you're just going, going, going. And there's many times where I find myself, kind of in this brain fog, or there's just so much going on in my mind. I can't even function or have any clarity on things that I need to do.
Mhm.
And I love this because it really is telling you all you have to do is look inward. Like, the answers, you have what it takes. It's all just inside of you. If you would just like remove all the other things that are steering the way or keeping the way from being seen, then
Mhm.
you can get there. And that happens many times in business and in life where you just get to this phase where you just feel stuck. And
Mhm.
before, I was the kind of person that like I would just want to get in bed and take a nap and I'd be exhausted and I would just want to rest. And sometimes resting for long periods of time is just not something you can do, which I think is a huge component to getting to that place again, because you're kind of just allowing all the things and releasing all the things so you can get into that flow again.
Mhm.
Kind of like if you're stiff, you start stretching to release, where for me, rest was kind of those things. So I do a lot of resting in general, but being able to kind of on demand, just like lay on the couch, put on the Mastery app and listen to Crystal or some of the other amazing people who are more specific in different categories, which we'll talk about, and just be able to release and listen and just let it flow. In minutes, you could have the clarity that you've been trying to gain for weeks and the resting didn't help or whatever, right? Like if you want to be able to just get there quickly. And I've had so many revelations, like really, I'm not someone who has enjoyed, I wouldn't say, I wanted to say I'm not great at meditating, but I'm going to rephrase that and reframe it. I haven't enjoyed getting into that meditative state. And I love that a lot of these breath works that you have on the app available for us are short. And so it doesn't feel like this, oh, I got to get into meditation for like an hour or even 30 minutes. Like some of them are 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can just get into that flow quickly. And so I think that helps me to be like, well, here's another thing I have to do. Like, no, it's not that long and it can really clear up a lot of things. So, what kind of hypno breathwork options are there on the app? And like, because there's a lot of specific things. Like when I go on the app, I'll look at it and it'll say, hey, if you need clarity on this one thing, this is what you should be listening to or what breath work you should be doing. You want to talk to me a little bit about what options there are and like how that works?
Yeah, so it's really beautiful because while they're specific, they're still general enough to cover whatever it is that you're looking for. So there's focus, there's clarity, there's health flow. So if you want to envision like your best, like most healthy day, what does that look like? How are you showing up in your eating? There's also sessions for creativity, right? Whether you're creating content or if you're a choreographer or things like that. There's also Francesca has a really great 7-day reset And it goes through like showing up in your best self, in your best, most aligned self in 7 days, right? Your communication, your self-expression, your, you know, showing up as your most like loving, self-loving self. So there's, I would say there's probably like, how many coaches? There's probably like 20 coaches, and we all have different specialties. Mine is obviously flow state, but they're like everyone's so different and like very diverse. So really anything that you could want to start your day off or to like reset your state of being for the day is on the app, which is what I love about it because, you know, I want someone to lead me through breath work. And so when the app came out, I was like, this is a game changer. This is the best. And because they are short, they're 22 minutes. There's also some 8-minute sessions. So I would do those in my car sometimes, like right before going into a meeting or going into a class, do this 8-minute session to just reset myself and recalibrate and get really clear. But it is about being the most efficient for your time. And that's what's been really helpful too, is because, yeah, sometimes like, oh God, even 30 minutes, even that 8 minutes makes a different, right? A difference, right? So you're like, oh, I got to figure out where to find 30 minutes to do this. And in my head, I'm like, no, it's 20 minutes, drop in, get into the breath, and in 20 minutes you can have the clarity that you need to take the next best step and really like be totally connected to your intuition, which is where you're going to take the steps that are best for you instead of having to ask other people what's best for me.
Yeah. And it's always great to like strategize and talk to people and talk things out, but I think we don't spend enough time looking inward. And
Hmm.
so I love this, obviously. And also, too, I think a lot of times when we're stressed, when we don't have clarity, when it's really busy or we're feeling stuck, like we'll go to other things like a ton of caffeine, or some people get medicated on certain things, like just all kinds of stuff we probably shouldn't be doing that's not really healthy for us. Like, this is such an easy way that you don't need anything else, that you can do it at any time, that it's not going to harm you in any way. And it's only going to be able to be better than where you started at the beginning of their breath work or whatever. And so I love this, just kind of that like holistic way to show up and work through some of these things. So before we got on the call, um, I was struggling with technology, and you mentioned the fact that Mercury's in retrograde, and I have been talking about this probably for about a year every time it comes up. And I think a lot of people are like, what the heck is that? Or they kind of know what it's about. And I know you're not like super experted in this particular topic, but like, can you talk to us about what that is? Because we're in it right now. I think it's through the rest of October, the beginning of October.
Hmm.
Um, what does that mean?
Okay. So right now we're in Mercury in retrograde, and that's where the planet changes direction, right? And so it can really affect technology, communication, and it can really start to bring up our frustrations and bring up areas where we need to clean things up a little bit. And so I'm always very aware when Mercury comes into retrograde. I had a teacher who would always tell me, like, this is the time where you need to clean these things up, whether it's your communication with other people, feeling heard, and things like that, so that when we come out of retrograde, you're more in alignment, right? And yeah, it lasts for like 3 weeks. And so if you notice like things going wrong with your car, with your computer, I always love to be like, oh yeah, Mercury's in retrograde. Just
Well,
blame it on retrograde.
couple things. So when Mercury in retrograde started, I felt really tired. Like, all I wanted to do was sleep every single day. A team member of mine texted us this morning saying she was going to be late because all three of her parents' vehicles batteries like were not charged. Like, all three, they were stuck at home. Like, right? So there must be this like magnetic situation happening. And then I woke up this morning like really feisty, like just feeling pissed off about some particular topic. And I went live on Instagram and I was like, I need to talk about this because I am just feisty and pissed off. And I know it's like an important topic. And so today I had the gusto to just get it done. And, so some of those things that come up, but using and being aware of it and using it to where it can help you and
Hmm.
lean into it instead of fighting it, I think is what's important, like you were talking about. So for those of you that see me post about being all over the place and how it's all Mercury's fault, like My
It's not
husband's
my
like,
fault.
what
It's
are
all
you
Mercury.
talking about? I'm like, forget it. You won't get it. Like, just don't, like, you know, I
One
don't.
other thing too, really quick, is that it is a good time to slow down, right? And to really like pay attention to the things that are coming up, pay attention to what you're doing. It's also not a good time to sign contracts or like start new ventures. Like if you need to, then you do, but you proceed with caution.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things like partnerships, just different things that you probably wouldn't make the same decision if it wasn't this period of time. So I love that. Kind of going back to, hypno breathwork. And I know that we were so honored to have you at Unfiltered Experience, which was a conference for women entrepreneurs. And we really talked about business, but it was important for me for you to come and do that experience just because of what I had experienced in the past, just before meeting you and like things that I had gone through. And I knew that it was going to be interesting and special and just introducing something that a lot of people don't know about. And like I said, especially us women who hold that anxiety, who try to do all the things, who are carrying around this mental load and having issues trying to get through it. Talk to me about Unfiltered. And you were an amazing speaker. Like everybody was in tears, everybody was having revelations, even in just 10 minutes. It was so powerful. What it was also like to speak on stage and talk to these women, but also attend. You were there for the 2 days and got to experience it a little bit.
Yeah, so it was an honor to be able to come and talk on stage and share this magic, especially with entrepreneurs, because I think the big thing is like we get into entrepreneurship because we have a passion that we want to share and we want to change people's lives. And for me, I loved breathwork and helping people, but all of the the entrepreneur things, all of the other things, I was like, nobody told me about this shit. Like, I gotta do what? And it can be very overwhelming. And so being able to share a tool with a room full of entrepreneurs that may be feeling the same thing as me was such an honor. And I was so excited. And so I really just wanted to connect them back into like their power and their genius, right? And their special gifts that they're here to share with the world. And it was very, very special to be able to share that. I got so much wonderful feedback from people about just like clarity and insights that they had and just connecting back to like their authentic self and their unfiltered self, right? Because sometimes we put on that mask and it can be hard to show up in the world and let our light shine. And giving yourself permission to do that is such a special gift. And so yeah, it was pretty powerful. Um being able to attend, and I was so impressed with, someone told me it was the first one that you had put together and I was like, what? And I was like, oh, and then I was even more impressed with you and I was like, oh man. And then just all of the speakers were amazing. I took so much away from that weekend, from everything that you talked about with time management. I texted you, I went home and I was like, I did this and this and this today, and I was like, oh shit, I feel like so adult.
Like a grown up now.
Like an
Yeah, I love
adult.
that. That's
And
so.
then yeah, just all the women that were there were amazing. And just the container and the space that you guys created was so beautiful. It really was so beautiful.
Yeah, I miss it. Can you believe it's actually been a month today? It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, today is like the
Love.
30-day mark since that weekend. I know it's insane. It was really, really special, and you were a huge part of it. And just not only just like pouring into all of us and teaching us what you know and what you're an expert in and the things that you're doing, but also being part of the audience and participating. And like it's just not the same without the people that are in the room at the time that they're in the room. And yes, it was my first event that I put on, but I have also been attending events, conferences, and weekends, and masterminds, and retreats, and all these things for years. And I knew the pieces of those type of events that I've gone to that have really made an impact for me and what was really special and important. And so that's the things that I said, let's get rid of all the other crap and like, let's really just focus on these things. And that's what we tried to do. And it was a lot of work. And I did breath work on it, like all the things. So, it was awesome. So before we kind of wrap up, obviously we are going to link every possible way to access you. And I know you have something special for our audience, but when it comes to the hypno breath work, what would you suggest is the best time to tap into that and use that? Is there like a particular time of the day? I know obviously if you're going through some hardship, like just get in there and get it done, then not do it. But like, is there a special time to try to get it done if you can?
Yeah, I think first thing in the morning is the most optimal time. When you're waking up, you're already in a theta state where your, mind, your subconscious mind is a little bit more connected. Um, but yeah, first thing in the morning, or I like to do in the morning right before I start work, right? Because it gets
Gotta
me
set
into that
yourself.
flow state. It gets me like super clear and release. Yeah, I can release everything for the day, and I set myself up to like, this is what's most important for me today. And I'm so much more efficient. I get more done in less time. And so that's why I think it's like that's the most optimal time.
Yeah, and just really keeps you from just diving into the whirlwind of everyday crap and just setting that
Hmm.
intention. Even if you no longer like think about it for the rest of the day, like you've set that intention. And I think just connecting those two things really help you see the things that you've got to get done even subconsciously because you've set that and you've kind of seen it. And so I think that's great. I've also done it at night when I'm just like I can't sleep, I have too many things on my mind, like helping just clear that space. I've fallen asleep to it, and I've noticed too that like I'll have certain dreams or certain thoughts and I'll wake up in the morning with like revelations as well.
Yes.
So definitely, like for those of you who for whatever reason can't do it in the morning, but I do agree, for me in the morning, like I'll be brushing my teeth or taking a shower, and like all these ideas are coming in my head where they won't
Hmm.
come like that easily in that flow state the rest of the day. And so I definitely think that's also a great time. But just wanted to kind of give that context for anyone who does take you up on getting access and trying this out, like when they should maybe be trying this and they can have the best experience. So tell everybody how they can reach you and then what offer you've got for them to really try this hypno breathwork thing out.
Yeah, so the best place to find me is on Instagram, and it's at the Clarity Coach. Yeah, that's the best place to find me to hear about any classes, any offers that I'm doing, anything like that, or just reach out to me if you have questions about breathwork, about hypno breathwork, and maybe like some clarity that you need, or maybe you want to lead yourself through your own breathwork session. I love to tell people, like, show people, like, here's how you can do it yourself. So yes, please feel free to reach out. Let me know how your breathwork experiences are going, any questions, comments, concerns. And then my offer is I put together a really great hypno breathwork session called Master Your Week. And it's for entrepreneurs. And it's starting at the beginning of your week is the optimal time to do it. You can do it at any time though, but it's really just to help you review like what went well last week, right? Give yourself a chance to see what went well, what could have been better, but what did you also do really great? And how do we carry that into the next week, right? So we get really intentional with your week. What do you want to do this week? And then start to organize things. And then also connecting to, cool, what does it look like? And moving yourself into a state of excitement, into a state of just being prepared for your week. And then you notice that things flow much easier throughout the rest of the week when you've set that intention and you've gotten really connected to what's most important for you to, how it's most important for you to show up.
Awesome. So we'll have all of that, her Instagram handle, or link to be able to try that out, linked down below. Crystal, thank you so much for showing up again.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing. It's made an impact on my life. I am 100% on the app all the time. And I think it's just such a, like you said, it was magic. It's magical. It really is. It feels like magic. Like it's not even supposed to be real. And it is just such an amazing way to tap into yourself and be able to just breathe. You breathe all day, every day, your entire life. You just have it there with your lungs. Like it's just such an easy thing to do without, harmful things that you might do otherwise to try to get the same effect. So you guys should definitely check it out. And again, thank you, Crystal, so much for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.